Welcome to ProCast. Here, some of the best designers answer some of the most hottest questions of the design industry. In this episode, we have Helen, a top rated Upwork professional who will be answering some of the most asked questions about freelancing.
So, firstly, just to let our viewers who may not know you, how about you kindly introduce yourself briefly?
Hi there, my name is Helen. I'm an Instagrammer and YouTuber, a UI UX designer and freelancer. And in my blogs, I teach people how to start freelancing and how to get themselves into design industry. So basically, you can find me by UI Helen on Instagram and also on YouTube.
Even before everything, okay. What are you working on lately? Like, how has the current COVID pandemic affected your freelance gigs?
I have to say that a lot of my clients said that they will postpone a little bit due to the pandemic situation because they can't plan the budgets right now. They are trying to take care of the employees that they're having. Although some of them are trying to save some money right now, others are planning to expand, and I have work still. It's less than it was before, but still I see that a lot of companies are trying to digitize and trying to grab this moment while everybody are at home and use this moment in order to grow their business, especially if their business is connected to remote work or work that can be performed remotely.
So, what is the most common misconception people have about freelancing? Could you help clarify that to our aspiring designers who are listening?
So, the most common misconception everyone has about freelancing is that it can be done overnight, it can be done easily, and in order to switch, you basically have to apply a little effort. This is not true. Freelancing is harder than a regular job. Freelancing is making you as a person like a business, and you have to maintain your taxes, your income, your workflow. You have to become a salesperson because you're right now selling your services, and you have to know how to write convincing cover letters. And I talk about all that on my YouTube channel. So, everything that account manager was doing for you in the company where you were working before, now it's now on your shoulders. It's now your problem to sell your services to potential client, how to come up with a price that is actually profitable for you. And it's your job to be aware of the market trends, prices in different countries, in different industries, so you can fetch that client, so you could grab him and he will be satisfied with your budgets and he will want to work with you because you have relevant experience, etc., etc. So, to summarize, freelancing is not an easy thing, and I would recommend to have some savings before you start freelancing.
So, are there certain kinds of people who may like freelancing more than other types? So where am I coming from with this? Is see, basically, our audience wants to understand if they are the kind of people who should freelance or join jobs.
Right. So freelancing is for people who are either not the person who wants to work in a big team. Mostly freelancers are either working solo or in smaller teams. Also, freelancing is for people who have exceptional leadership um, characteristics. So they want to have control of their projects, life, income. Basically, they just don't want to see how they are working for the project, and they are seeing that this project is paying a company way more than the person is earning per month. And this is actually, so the income thing is really most of the time the main thing that drives people to start freelancing, especially when we talk about people who are middle or senior. They want to start freelancing because they understand they can earn more when they freelance rather than when they are just working for somebody.
All right. My next question is more about understanding the challenges. Like, what are some of the challenges or risks pertaining to freelancing from a fresh starter perspective? And, what about people on jobs who want to switch to freelance?
So the risks are that you are not prepared money wise, meaning that if you don't have savings, if you quit your job and start to try to freelance right away, you will face that maybe your portfolio is not up to date and you need time to refresh that. Maybe you don't know how to position yourself online and where to find your first freelance jobs. You don't have profiles in freelancing platforms, let's say. You are not established on LinkedIn. You are still unknown, but you have already quit the job, so you have no choice. I mean, you need to eat something, you need to earn some money. And this is the risk. If you don't have any savings before you start, you are risking really, really highly. The challenges in freelancing are there are a lot of challenges actually. Firstly, you might be not prepared that a lot of potential leads that you will have will kind of expect you to be available for a call when they want it, and they might be located in 12 hours time distance away from you. So they want to have a call at 9 a.m., which is your 9 p.m. And most of freelancers are not prepared to sacrifice their night sleep just to have a call with a client, even if this client has potential. So you might lose a lot of clients if you're not prepared to be available at the start when it's better for clients. I know you will say that we all have self-esteem and stuff like that, but I know from my personal experience that in order to succeed on freelancing platforms, I had to say to my self-esteem that it should shut up and go away, because now I need to have some clients and earn some money in order to get some exposure, some reviews, just to build up my career further. So being underpaid a little bit is one of the biggest challenges that any freelancer might face. I don't know anyone who did not face underpay period in their freelancing career. So I was doing designs for way cheaper than I do them now, just for the sake of good reputation, reviews, LinkedIn reviews in particular. Also, coming back to the challenges and risks, you will face a lot of different people. If you are an employee and the project is either your company project or you have clients coming in, you are not most of the time speaking to the client. There are specific people who do that, account managers, account directors, and you are getting the task from your manager, or you are the manager, but still not all the time you're speaking to the client. So you don't know that psychology. You don't really know that game. When you're speaking to the client, how to feel that is he the right fit, or will he pay what you want to get, and all that kind of relationship game. Most of the people are not prepared, so this is again a big challenge.
Okay, so emphasizing on what I believe is one of the most important subjects, that is payments. Okay, people often worry about untimely payments. What advice would you give to budding freelancers to manage and ensure timely payments?
Okay, so payments is the subject. When I was younger and I was less experienced than now, I just tended to work on hourly basis because I knew that this is something that I can prove that, okay, I work these hours, here is the time tracker, etc., etc., pay me please. Right now, I understand that this is not the way to go, because what you want to do is you want to have value-based pricing for your work, meaning that if you're creating a logo for a small business, it's going to cost one amount. If you're creating a logo for a big business and it's impacting a lot of areas, it's impacting more users, that's going to cost way more. So you don't have a static price for every single deliverable you can provide. How do you get people to pay you on time? Is that, first of all, you never work without prepayment. I am saying this so many times on my blog, on my YouTube channel, and still I'm receiving a lot of inquiries in terms of how do I manage that. So if I have a small project and small to medium sized project, let's say, so it's like from the lowest up to $3,000, projects are considered small to medium. So I take 50% prepayment in this respect. I know right away that if a person is against 50% prepayment for pretty much low amounts for a company, for business wise, I know that they're not serious. I don't want to work with them. So this is how I identify that the client is not the one I should work with. If a project is bigger, I still have a prepayment, but it might be 20%, 30%. And then I have milestones that a client need to fulfill once the job is done. And I leave a very tiny, tiny, tiny 10% until the end. So I'm kind of risking just these 10% of not getting paid if something goes wrong or if I have not read the psychology of the person back in the days when we were just discussing the project. So you need to understand that if you have a small project, you can risk maybe 50% of it. But if you have bigger project, you need to make sure your client pays prepayment, and then couple of milestones will show you how the client is paying for the milestones. And maybe by the time you reach the middle milestone, you know that he's always delaying payments, always bargaining, always saying, no, we want 10 more iterations of changes. So maybe you will say that, yeah, we need to reconsider the payment procedure to the end. So you're going to pay us everything, and then we will deliver everything in accordance to the scope. This payment thing is a psychological business game, but I understand that it might be very overwhelming right now, but for the fresh starters, for people who are just newbies in freelancing, I want to say that the thing that you must have is a prepayment for your work. It's up to you to decide what kind of prepayment you want to get, but make sure you do have something. Not less than 20% for the work, please. It will save so much of your time, nerves, effort, and communication with clients who are not prepared to pay.
I do feel that is an important thing that you mentioned there, and something that is totally worth considering at this point of time. So, moving on to my next question. What has been your biggest learning from the freelance world that you want to share as tips to our community?
So you can't specify one learning from the overall freelance practice, let's say, but I know that there are clients who post jobs just to get rates in order to understand what's the market rate. It's okay, we can all do that, but if you are going to freelance on freelancing platforms like Upwork or freelancer.com or TopTal, whatever, I think that you need to be careful when applying to those, because this is just a waste of time, and you're just spending energy for the sake of somebody just to know the rates. But also, there are type of clients who they are trying to take advantage of the talent and then give the job to somebody else. I'm going to explain it right now. So let's say you are a very talented designer, and you got approached by a client and they want to do something, I don't know, maybe a website design. It doesn't really matter. So website design has like a desktop version, mobile version, tablet version. So there are like multiple resizes, or at least you need to show how the responsiveness of your design. But if a client is giving you a job to make desktop, let's say, and responsive mobile design, after the just one piece of the work, they might say that, hey, yeah, that's cool, we love it, but we decided not to proceed. We don't need that mobile thing right now, and we will contact you later. What's happening is that you were expecting to make the mobile, right? So you were expecting to spend some quality time on it and earn some money from it. And maybe you even gave a discount to the client because you will be doing like a lot of work. And now the client says that he wants to cancel because they decided to go somewhere else. I have a that's the situation from my personal experience, and I want to give a very important tip on that. When you apply to any job, you need to have a proposal. And I state in my proposal that when we agree on the scope of work that I'm going to do, and I name the price for the whole scope, I don't divide it to several stages. So it is as it is for the whole scope. And you can't have the source file unless I have completed and got paid in full for the whole scope. So if you want to have half of the work, you can have half of the work if you don't have the source file. If you want to have the source file in order to work with it with your internal designer or anyone, it's applicable to any industry, right? So if you want to have it, you need to pay me in full. Because what's happening is talented people can do the job, but it's pretty expensive. And a lot of people want to save some money. They say, okay, we're going to order this part from this super designer, talented person. And then when we have the source file, basically any designer can make resizes to various devices. It's not about creativity right now. It's about just, mechanical work, making resizes. So please take this situation into account when you will be making offers to your clients, because it's a common thing nowadays, and a couple of my friends face this issue, and I don't want you to face these issues also. So, make sure you have this in your proposal.
Yeah, it's great actually that you put some light on that. And, not just that, but I do believe that after this productive session, our viewers are going to have many more questions that they might want to ask you. So, Helen, where exactly can people follow you and your work?
Yay, that's a great question, actually. Yeah, well, if you have any questions about what I said so far, you can find me as ui.helen on Instagram, or just type Helen Demina on YouTube or Instagram. Basically, if you type in Google Helen Demina or UI Helen, you will definitely find me in search engines on YouTube, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, Facebook, etc., etc. But most of the time, I communicate with people through Instagram and my YouTube channel. Yeah. Yeah, once again, I want to say thank you for having this podcast with me. It was a pleasure to be a part of it, and hoping that all the information that I've said so far will be valuable to all the people who are listening right now. Take care, stay home, stay safe. We're all here with our free advice for freelancers because we want to, overcome the crisis that might come. And yeah, good luck in freelancing, and reach me out if you have any other questions. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It was a pleasure to be in here.
Great. Thank you for your valuable inputs, Helen. I do believe that they are going to be super helpful for all of our viewers. So thank you so much. Stay safe. Cheers.